Good morning, guys. It is Saturday, Christmas Eve. I am at my gym getting ready to lift legs. And I really was thinking about the podcast episode that we made this last week. And we kind of talked about a few different things. But something really that I've been thinking a lot about is we talked about, getting your hormones checked and like why that's so important. And it's so interesting. So I wanted to kind of dive deeper into that. And I was like thinking about it when I'm driving in a car, it's when you think of everything. So I wanted to, take you through one of my leg workouts, of course, but also, talk a little bit more about like getting your hormones checked and why that's so important. And like the kind of I don't want to say like just misconceptions people have with like getting your hormones checked, but like the things that we deal with as women in our life and how easy it can be fixed just by getting our hormones checked and like talking about it. So, I'm gonna go and lift legs, and then when I get home, I will be at my desk and I will kind of go into my hormone, journey and how it's so important and why it's so important. And like I said on the podcast, I'm a natural athlete and why I take like certain supplements to keep my hormones, like very optimal. And even nowadays, like what is so of course it's December, but God, December flew by. But of course, like when I got my hormones checked before I started my prep, I was eating quite a bit of calories and everything was great. And then, it's scary when you've seen your hormones crash and so low and really feel those feelings and then get everything back to optimal. And that takes so much time. And then get your hormones checked and then everything's good. And then like that's when you kind of start learning about yourself because everybody's levels are different. And so you start learning like, okay, like I'm not supposed to have like these energy crashes, or I'm not supposed to have this or that. And you start learning like, okay, well, if I supplement with like this or that, some of those things like might go away. But anyways, I'm gonna go do this workout and then I'll kind of talk more about that when I get home. But I'm gonna show you some of the workouts that I do when I lift heavy legs. So I usually start off with some stretching, nothing too big. I stretch in the morning at home, but this is just a warm up. This is just my first set. I'm warming up and getting ready to add on a few more plates to start heavy lift. I just got done with my workout and this is what I look like after. As you see, the sun is out and I am headed home. Probably Aaron's awake. Carson might be awake. I don't know. But hopefully I can head home, get my protein coffee. I have my fruit here. I eat about like 35 grams-ish after my workouts. And I can kind of pick whatever, but I just pick fruit because it's good for you. I try to do a medley, measure it out in the morning. And then that way I can have like antioxidants, vitamins, minerals that you get from like fruit. So I'm gonna head home and hey guys, I am home in my office. I have my protein coffee and it says crazy cat lady. Fun fact about me, I love rescuing like all types of animals. If I had more land or a bigger house, I would have more animals, but I have 3 rescue dogs and a rescue kitten that I've had since she was a week old. I always joke that like when I got her, my chicken weighed more than her. Her mom died and I just took her and nursed her and loved her, and now she's 2 years old and I love her so much. But so I wanted to talk to you guys about the importance of getting your hormones checked and really knowing like about your hormones, not just even as an athlete getting ready to step on stage, but even just as like a woman, especially in like we're always getting older, we're always aging, so our hormones are going to change. The importance of them is going to change as well. So I really want to tell you kind of my experience because I will be 35 in March. When I was younger and I first started competing in 2006, 16, I did not know this was not a care in the world. I started working with my coach. I got my nutrient plan. I got my workout plan, and I just followed it. And my body reacted phenomenally to it. I lost weight. I was fine. Like my prep was fine. I did a 24-week prep, and it was great. When the show was over, and I was very petite. I was very skinny. I was very small, which back then that was kind of, I don't know, that was kind of the thing. Wasn't nowhere near as like how it is today. And then I did another show right after that. It was fine as well. Everything was great. It was great shows. And then I took 2017 off and I came back in 2018. So with these three preps, and the diets, again, I never cared about hormones. I never checked my hormones. This was not anything thought of. And even nowadays this is kind of common too, but even back then, like it was very common to like lose your period. So like, or your cycle, whatever, period cycle. So as you're getting closer to your show, when your body fat drops, you will lose your cycle. And what's so interesting is like, it's just like a part of it, right? You never think much of it. And I feel like the people that do kind of start thinking like, why do you lose your cycle? Those are the people that are like, let's learn more about what's going on with my body. And so that didn't really strike me at that time. To me, I just chalked it up to like something that happens, right? It's common. So after 2018, I took time off again, and my husband and I, we wanted to try to have a baby. And that's when it kind of hit me about how important like having a consistent cycle is, or knowing about your cycle and ovulation. And, I went down that rabbit hole. The doctors really did not like that I would lose my cycle. They weren't the nicest to me. I went through the ringer with a lot of stuff, and, that's fertility journey is totally different, story, but no, that's when it kind of was like, okay, well, this is why you lost your cycle. This is like kind of what's going on, and, it's important. And I still just kind of understood like the basics of it, but I didn't understand like why, like how. So I started another prep in 2021, going into spring of 2022. And again, I lost my cycle. This time it was a lot closer to my show, and I was very, very lean and I had more muscle on me. So I didn't think that much of it as at the time either. And I was losing weight. My body was reacting fine. Everything was fine. My coach, of course, recommended that I get my hormones checked. This was becoming more of a topic, in the bikini world. And I was just like, well, I'll do it later. I did 2 shows in 2022 in spring, and it was after my last show, it was like May, June, that I did go get my labs checked. And that's when it was like a kind of a reality check. I got my labs back and everything was low. My testosterone, my progesterone, my T3, T4, estradiol, estrogen, all of these things were just very, very low. And the nurse practitioner that I worked with, she asked these really intense questions, that, you're just not used to doctors asking. And, how is your sleep? Are you sleeping in the afternoon? How do you wake up? How do you sleep at night? Are you really hot? Are you really cold? Like, she started like really digging in, and it made me like start thinking, and I'm like, well, I mean, I am really cold. I am this. Unfortunately, because I did not go get my labs done prior, we didn't have a baseline. And that right there is like really, really important, because everybody's body is so different. You need a baseline to like reference, right? So if you don't have a reference, like you don't really know. So we just know what you're looking at right now. So we're like, okay, well, you're going into an off season. Let's get all these raised up. Let's, more calories, like healthy calories. So I really focused on like healthy fats, and I like got these raised up. And I think it was like several months of doing this. And there was a few times I tried to kind of diet in between, and it didn't work. My brain was like, I just had like such brain fog with it, and I wasn't as focused. So it wasn't until the new year of January 2023 where I'm like, okay, well, I want to like get into back into prep and like do another show and do nationals. And I was like, oh, I missed it, of course. Well, this was the very first time I started a diet and my workout and everything, and my body was like, no. My body was not having it. My body is like, I am not going to lose weight. I am going to hold on to everything. I don't care what you do. And it did just that. So I spent, oh my gosh, I want to say it was like 6 weeks. Like, I don't think I reached 10 before my body, like, before I was just like, like, this isn't working. Like, even my coach was like, I mean, it's just not working. Like, my coach is like, I can run you into the ground. We're talking back and forth, but it's like, this isn't working. And we're trying all this stuff and we're doing all this stuff. And I'm just busting ass, and like my body's like not having it. So we kind of had to come to terms with like, this is just not, this is just not your time. And I was okay with that. I really like kind of had like a come to Jesus moment with it. And I was like, um, I was okay. So at that time, I actually started working with a different doctor, and I took time just really with like my husband, and I was really strong. So I was like, you know what? I'm just going to take this year and I'm going to lift really, really heavy. I'm going to focus on other things, and I'll come full circle back to this, maybe in the fall or winter, and like whatever. I expedite shows as well. So I'm always like a part of like the scene. I also started coaching. So like there's a lot of stuff still going on. So I was okay taking like a back seat from like stepping on stage for a little bit. So, um, I spoke with my coach, and I was like, what do we do? Um, as we go into this kind of like new phase, and it's like avocados, walnuts, egg yolks, rate high calories, lift heavy, and enjoy life for like really a good bulk of 2023. And that's what I did. And I got my labs checked in September of this year, and everything was like phenomenal. My body reacted amazingly to I had like an off season, and then I cleaned up like my cleanup off season, and then it's prep. My body reacted phenomenally to my, cleanup off season. My body has been amazing through prep. I've been in prep now for a few weeks, but after I got those labs back, in September, I talked to my coach, and we're like, everything's great. We don't need, there's no reason for like anything prescribed, but let's try like a few natural things and see what happens. So, we added DHEA to my supplements, and then we added iodine droplets. So I took those, and then I got my labs checked now, kind of at the end of November, and it was even better than what my baseline was. And my testosterone's a little higher, my thyroid's acting great, and there's a few things even I notice as like just living life that's a little different. Like, I don't have energy crashes, which I always just chalked up to coffee because I drink a lot of coffee. But I'm like, oh well, my thyroid is really like working more, and it has the supplement, so like I'm more alert and more awake, and I didn't know I wasn't prior. So these little things are just great. Like, I feel super strong. This is the best prep I've like ever had. I'm very happy with everything that's happening. So this is why it's extremely important to get your labs checked. And I don't mean go to your doctor and get your labs checked, not your normal MD. Like, find a clinic, or look for, talk to some people, look for a really good clinic that is going to just work with you and not just prescribe you stuff, but try natural supplements, try different things that are going to help you with what you're trying to achieve or what you're trying to correct, and then get your lab check every like 4 weeks, or 4 months, and see how everything is going. And if it's going well, then you can maybe like not do anything, maybe go up a few different things. It's amazing. But if you find a clinic or a place that you can rely on and trust, and they do your labs and you can comb through them, your life can be different. So it's not just stepping on stage, but it's just life in general as you like age as a woman, how important it is. So really, I just wanted to share kind of my story and background with it. On our podcast, Bikinis After Babies, as you see my cute little sign back here, we talk about all this stuff. I just wanted to dive a little deeper into my story and how, it greatly affected me and how it's immensely, changed my, athletic career. So I hope that helps you guys, and I hope you have a very Merry Christmas.